What is up, true crimers, and welcome back. It is time to explore the unsolved disappearance of Seth Musket. So Seth Musket was 22 years old and he was from Tamaqua, Pennsylvania. Does that sound familiar by chance? So earlier today, I actually covered another disappearance from Tamaqua, Pennsylvania, and the young gentleman's name was Jesse Farber. For those of you who did not watch that crime talk yet, it's actually 2 parts long. I would encourage you to go watch it because I'm actually going to cover a third crime that happened in Tamaqua in a separate crime talk. I don't know about you, but I'm seeing a bit of a trend here in Tamaqua, so I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. So in any event, this is Seth. He was 22 years old and he was a father. He was known for being devoted to his child. He even had a tattoo of his name. Seth also had friends. He seemed happy and he kept in regular contact with his family. On June 2nd of 2014, Seth was driving along and seemingly got into a car wreck. It's not known why or how, but he did end up crashing his car. At that point, he seemingly phoned authorities and asked for help. Now, authorities responded to his call. He was able to pinpoint his location, and authorities went and dispatched and found the location. When they get there, Seth's car is there, but Seth is nowhere to be found. Super duper sketchy. So investigators begin trying to locate Seth. He seemingly vanished into thin air. There's absolutely no trace of him. They cannot find him, but they find the car, and, it's obvious that it's been in a collision, but no Seth. No trace of him. It's like he literally was not there. It was that insane. Now, not much is posted about this case. I only found a few articles and very, very little information. I did see that Seth's mother ended up reporting him missing the following day, but not much was done and absolutely nothing was found. This case is so sad, and it literally does remind me of the Jesse Farber case. This case is also very sketchy because this is all taking place in Tamaqua, and it's like people are just vanishing into thin air there. How does that happen? Nobody just disappears without a trace. Somebody out there must know something, but nobody is coming forward. This happened in 2014, and he is still missing to date. There has been supposedly one possible sighting of him, but nothing was confirmed. I am going to do another crime talk now and cover the Tamaqua murder that took place, because there was a third person. I don't know, Tamaqua, something sketchy is going on there.
The unsolved disappearance and murder of Alexis Sharkey, a 26-year-old social media influencer who seemingly disappeared without a trace in Houston, Texas this past November. At the time of her disappearance, Alexis had been married to 49-year-old Tom Sharkey for less than a year, and the two of them had recently moved to Houston as she pursued her career in social media-based marketing. On Thursday, November 26, 2020, Alexis decided to go out and spend Thanksgiving with her friends, reportedly because of ongoing issues between her and Tom. The following day, her friends and family grew concerned when they couldn't get a hold of her, considering she's constantly on her phone for work. It was Saturday the 28th when Tom called Alexis's family to inform them that he hadn't seen his wife in 2 days. He went on to claim that Alexis stormed out of their apartment following an argument on Thanksgiving and she never returned. Right away, everyone in Alexis's life knew that something was wrong and took to social media to spread the word of her disappearance. They had no way of knowing that her body had already been found that morning just 3 miles away from her home.
Let's take a look at the disturbing trend of famous people disappearing off the face of the earth.
Connie Converse was an American singer-songwriter who was a musician primarily in the 1950s. After struggling in the music business, she decided to quit altogether in 1961 and was convinced that she was a failure. When she turned 50 years old in 1974, she was incredibly depressed, as she had never felt like a bigger failure. But her friends had hopes that maybe she was turning her life around when she wrote to them and said that she was going to make a fresh start. She packed up some of her belongings into her car and drove off, never to be seen or heard from again. Those that knew her think that she likely took her own life. However, there still is a chance that maybe she escaped her life and is out there living under a new identity. Her music gained a bit of a cult status in 2009, so it's incredibly sad that she wasn't around to see that success. Barbara Newhall Follett was considered a child prodigy writer, as her first novel was published when she was just 12 years old, in January of 1927. She released another novel at 14 to great success. But when Barbara's father left the family for a younger woman, Barbara and her mother were without anything. She was sadly forced to give up writing. By the age of 16, she was working as a typist and living on her own. By 1939, she was 25 years old, but in an unhappy marriage. One day, she walked out of her apartment and was never seen again. Her husband waited 2 weeks for her to return, and after then, he eventually notified police. It is unclear if she unfortunately took her own life, ran away to start a new life, or was subject to foul play. Rico Harris was a skilled basketball player who eventually played for the Harlem Globetrotters. Sadly, a series of personal issues meant that he no longer held a career in basketball and worked other jobs, including as a security guard. In 2014, he was trying to turn his life around and applied for a job in Seattle. He lived there with his girlfriend, but decided to take a trip to visit his mother in California. Somewhere on the drive back from his mother's house to his new home in Seattle, he disappeared. His abandoned car was found in a Yolo County park several days after his disappearance, but that was pretty much all that was ever found of him. There were a few possible sightings after his disappearance, but none have been confirmed besides a cell phone video the night of his disappearance. Rico Harris has been missing for about 7.5 years as of the time this video is made, and he would be about 37. Unlike the previous two cases, there is a much higher likelihood of Rico Harris still being safe out there somewhere. For the sake of those who knew and cared about him, I hope we'll get some answers soon.
Please don't let them look through the curtains. Picture, smile for the picture. Pose with your brother, won't you be a good sister? Everyone thinks that we're perfect. Please don't let them look through the curtains.
You so you said your father only smiled on the TV show. You're only happy when you're sorry.